Okay, so I have not done a 5 Kage video in a long, long time. As a matter of fact, I think the last one I did may have been Itachi versus the 5 Kage, which was months, probably almost a year ago now. So, bringing it right back down to another Uchiha fighting the 5 Kage, we got Sasuke versus the 5 Kage. Specifically, EMS, because we've already seen, Kage Summit, Sasuke fight the 5 Kage. Now, obviously, not at the same time, there's more back-to-back, but I think this one makes it more interesting. They could be like a rematch, so to speak, on, Sasuke versus the 5 Kage. Obviously, Tsunade and Danzo's place instead. But I wanted to do this because I had an idea brought up to me not too long ago. And today, to do this with me, I got the Sasuke King, Loco. Say hey, everybody.
What's up, y'all? I am back once again, glazing the GOAT himself, Sasuke. This is actually a very interesting matchup. Obviously we did already see this happen at the Kage Summit, but obviously Sasuke with the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is just a lot stronger than he was back then. So he's coming back for blood, right? He's gonna try to get his revenge on these guys, and we'll see if he can defeat all 5 of them at once.
Now, but again, earlier I had said that I got brought up with an idea because I was looking through some of my comments from the old days, and specifically the Itachi versus 5 Kage. Someone were to say that, if it was Edo Itachi clears the 5 Kage, almost no difficulty. And so that got me thinking. I was like, well, what's an opponent that's, around that level of Itachi? And obviously, first person I thought of was EMS Sasuke. EMS Sasuke is blatantly, in the series, just by feats, and even some of them among the fandom have pretty much scaled him relative or even slightly above Edo Itachi. So I think this is a good idea of a verse battle video because, it's one of those things where, in skill, obviously I think Sasuke, scale, he's got EMS, he's stronger, his physical attributes are a little more impressive. I think part of what people say that if EMS Sasuke doesn't beat Itachi, it's solely due to Itachi's strategic mind and that he's got a little more strategic prowess over Sasuke. But in terms of physical attributes, EMS Sasuke clears. So if EMS Sasuke could, realistically overpower Itachi, and if a lot of people agree that Edo Itachi clears the 5 Kage, could EMS Sasuke do the same? So that's what we're talking about. And we're kind of going to do this almost kind of chronologically. We're going to Sasuke at different points of his EMS. And we'll explain throughout the video why we're doing it this way. So, before we get into it, Loco, you wanna say anything before we get started, or you want to just jump right into it?
Nah, this is just gonna be a great matchup, a great video overall. Like I said, it's not one a lot of people tend to think about. So be sure to let us know your thoughts down in the comments right now. And of course, if we are able to change your minds on the outcome by the end of the video, be sure to let us know. I know I'll be in those comments for a fact, and I'm sure Lightning will be too.
For sure. All right, so real quick, let's just go over the 5 Kage and explain why they are deadly. And I think it goes without saying because they're the 5 Kage. And then realistically speaking, all 5 of these guys are busted, in their own unique way. One obvious ones are the right Kage and Tsunade, ham speed, ham strength. Onuki, by far the most broken character on this team with his particle style. Gaara's got some pretty solid defense. May's got some pretty, good vapor style, and her acid's pretty deadly. So everyone's got their own niche in this fight that's going to help out. Obviously, we saw this through their teamwork when they got in the fight against Madara. And even though Madara was kind of holding back and pretty much playing around, there was a couple of times that they either surprised Madara or caught him lacking. So, and even made Madara retract his statement on a couple occasions. For case in point, whenever he retracted his statement on Tsunade being a weak woman. So it's it's certain things like that, it's very impressive. And them going toe-to-toe with 25 wood clones clad in their Susanoo armor, definitely probably the most impressive feat in that. And even though it was Onuki that did the most job against them, to say that they survived against 25 Susanoos, it's pretty impressive. Even if the wood clones don't necessarily scale to Madara himself, obviously. It's just still crazy impressive they were able to survive, in my opinion. So, obviously the 5 Kage are lethal, as all mess, as we all know. So let's go into why EMS Sasuke is so much more powerful. I did do that. That's why I got my boy Loco here.
Yeah, so basically, as soon as Sasuke implanted the eyes, before he could even see out of them, he was already like, yeah, I can feel my power increasing. I just know that I've already become stronger as soon as I've implanted Itachi's eyes, right? So a lot of the anti-feats and like bad things that happened to him during the Kage summit, like the Raikage easily busting through his Susanoo, that shouldn't really apply here because EMS Sasuke is just stated to be stronger. He's also stated to have better ocular techniques and ninjutsu than his older brother Itachi as soon as he implants the Eternal Mangekyo. What this means is that basically all of the ninjutsu that Itachi can perform, Sasuke is just better at him than it. Basically, like his Amaterasu is better, Susanoo, and possibly even better Genjutsu overall, including Tsukuyomi. We actually do see that the speed of their genjutsus are shown to be similar during the Kabuto fight when they both have to break each other out of Taiyu's flute genjutsu. So it is very, very likely that Sasuke's genjutsu is already equal to, if not greater than, Itachi's Tsukuyomi. And of course, towards the end of the fight, Sasuke is stated to be realized as Itachi's equal, like they're finally on a comparable level. So basically, everything that Itachi is able to accomplish, Sasuke is just on a similar level, if not greater. Of course, during, like, once he arrives on the 4th Great Shinobi War battlefield, you could say that, like, he's a little bit more experienced with his eyes now. He might have gotten a little bit stronger after the Kabuto fight. But the thing is, we do see him being somewhat relative to, if not faster than, MKCM Naruto, in my opinion. We do see his Inton Kagetsuchi Amaterasu Blast moving at a similar speed to KCM Naruto's Rasen Shuriken, and we do see Sasuke outspeed Naruto to Sakura. In my eyes, this would just imply that Sasuke is physically faster than MKCM Naruto at this time, so it makes him very competitive in terms of speed. But the 5 Kage aren't anything to be slept on either. Obviously, they have great teamwork. LightningSnow already mentioned that. During the Kage Summit, they actually are stated to be the most powerful ninjas in the world at that given time. And of course, Sage Naruto was still active at that point. You could argue Obito was still active at that point. So you could say that the Kage could be a match for some of the most powerful characters in the series if you want to take that statement very literally. But even if you don't, they still have a lot of combo techniques that they can work with each other for. Like, Onoki can obviously amp the Raikage speed, make him a lot faster, but what a lot of people tend to forget is that he can also make Gaara Saiyan faster, significantly faster at that. So even though Sasuke is one of my favorite characters in the series, like, he's going up against, like, 5 powerhouses at this point in time. They shouldn't be slept on.
So one thing I will say, and I brought it up to Luca when we were talking about before the recording, is that it kind of depends on how Sasuke takes the fight. You know, obviously, he's seeing 5 Kage in front of him. I'm sure he's going to want to go serious, but the thing about it is, though, in every versus battle video that we see the Uchiha take part in, at least the ones that could use a Susanoo anyway, they don't all go straight for the, you know, immediate, you know, max level they could do, with the exception of probably Itachi and the Sasuke and Itachi fight in mid Shippuden, because, you know, as soon as Itachi whipped out the Susanoo, he kind of pretty much went into his, you know, max power. But I almost feel like that was a way to show Sasuke, or maybe scare Sasuke or whatever. But it depends on the interpretation. But like for Madara and Sasuke at the 5 Kage Summit, they didn't both go into their full, you know, body Susanoo, you know, max that they could do. Sasuke for obvious reasons because he hadn't fully developed yet, but Madara because he was also kind of playing around with the Kage. So again, it just kind of depends on how serious Sasuke decides to take this fight from the jump. It's one of those things, like, if he decides to, like, you know, maybe for the sake of maybe conserving some chakra, like, go just use the skeletal, or maybe like the medium level, like Susanoo, where it's like fully armored, but it's not like, doesn't have legs, whatever. And it'll be a little bit tougher for Sasuke to handle the 5 Kage, because as we saw, like, they were able to do some serious work against Madara, however much he was playing around with them. Like, for example, if he does that, you know, medium Susanoo, like full medium body Susanoo, there's a really good chance that depending on where they're fighting, Gaara can just use the sand at his feet to just try to yeet him out of the Susanoo. And at that point, you know, Orochi can just throw a particle style box at him. The Raikage can blitz him, so now they may be able to do the same. It's just one of those things where it's like their teamwork is going to play such a big role. And the flip side for this Sasuke, though, is that he already has knowledge of pretty much most of the arsenal of every single one of these people. Like, he already saw Onaki's particle style in the summit. He knows about Gaara's sand. He knows about Mei's vapor style and her acid. He knows that the Raikage is extremely fast. And so the only one he wouldn't know the full arsenal of is Tsunade, but like, I'm pretty sure it would go without saying that within maybe 5 minutes, he probably deduced that she's the medic. She's pretty much known for being the medic and ninja anyway. So the only thing he really know would, like, how strong she actually is physically, which I'm sure he'd find out pretty soon. So it is crazy. I think the teamwork is their biggest attribute in this fight, because like Loco was saying, Sasuke was progressively getting a lot more stronger. You know, Orochimaru was starting to see him as someone who's going to surpass Madara from early on in the war arc. So I don't know. Comparing to this EMS Sasuke to Edo Itachi, for people who would say that Edo Itachi would clear it, it's mainly due to him, A, being able to spam his Monkey Sharingan abilities without restraint, and B, being able to regenerate. The Sasuke has one of those luxuries. He's able to spam his jutsus on repeat. And what it seems like, a lot of them don't, you know, make Sasuke huff and puff a whole lot. Like, they don't really, it doesn't look like they cost him a whole lot of chakra now. So he doesn't have to worry about really chakra a whole lot or his eyesight going bad. But unfortunately, the luxury that Itachi would have in this respective case is that he can't regenerate.
The main reason why someone like Edo Itachi would have a chance at taking down all 5 Kage at once is due to the fact that he has basically limitless stamina with the Edo Tensei Jutsu along with his regeneration. But that's normally because, like, alive sick Itachi is very disadvantaged by his own stamina and his blindness, whereas Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan Sasuke has no such drawbacks. It's heavily implied that, like, he receives, like, a lot less drawbacks from using the Mangekyo overall. His eyes no longer bleed. When he uses the Susanoo, he's not, like, constantly in pain like he was during the Kage Summit. He said all of his cells were on fire. Yeah. And they were, like, burning, right? So you could just say that, like, the chakra cost for using Sharingan-based abilities is just lowered. He's more efficient at controlling his chakra with ocular techniques now that he has the Eternal Mangekyo. So you could just say that he's just more proficient with this kind of hacks abilities than Itachi would be, right? So I still think that even without, like, the regeneration that Itachi would have, like, Sasuke would still have a very good chance at beating them without it, especially when he has, like I mentioned, crazy hacks abilities. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't recognize how strong Amaterasu is because Kishimoto kind of did it dirty in the few showings that it has. But both Kabuto and Black Zetsu seem to come to the conclusion that it's just one of the strongest techniques out there. Like, Kabuto calls it the greatest offensive and defensive technique, or ocular technique rather. And keep in mind, he's seen both Madara's Tengai Shinsei, which is the big meteor, and he's seen Nagato's Chibaku Tensei, the planetary devastation. And of course, Black Zetsu has been around for, like, a very long time. He's seen a lot of jutsus, a lot of techniques, yet he still seems to think that Amaterasu is quote-unquote the most powerful physical attack. Yeah. So you shouldn't sleep on Amaterasu. Obviously, people know how strong the Susanoo is. Sasuke's Genjutsu is also not to be trifled with, and I feel like the Kage would have a very hard time overcoming a lot of these abilities because Sasuke is just blatantly better at using them than Itachi is.
Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to add, because I just thought about it, like, it seems that, like, Amaterasu and Kamui are synonymous when it comes to what they're, like, what they could do as opposed to what they do, I suppose. Like, a lot of people will say that, you know, Kakashi can't Kamui somebody because if he could, we would have seen him do it. Similar to Amaterasu, like, Amaterasu in theory can kill anybody, but we just never get to see. We never see it happen. So it's the exact same thing with Kamui. So I just want to throw that in there. Here's the thing, is that, like, I'm not wanting to sleep on EMS Sasuke because EMS Sasuke is ridiculous, right? And I think a lot of what would have to do with this fight in Sasuke's favor is, like I mentioned earlier, the knowledge that he's going to have on pretty much everybody going in, but also something that's going to be different in this fight as opposed to how it would be in the Summit arc is that Sasuke is a lot more level-headed this time around. And so Sasuke is going to have a lot more chances to use his mental acuity in better ways this time than he was in the war arc. Because, not war arc, but the 5 Kage Summon arc. Because, let's be honest, like, Sasuke is a fantastic tactician, right? I say this all the time. but he wasn't thinking the best in the 5 Kage Summon arc. He was going pretty ham. He wasn't thinking rationally. But this time around, even though Sasuke's still revenge, you can definitely clearly see the Kabuto fight and later on in the war arc that Sasuke's all like. I mean, even Tobirama in Orochimaru's mentions this a lot. Even Minato mentions this about how meticulous Sasuke is and how he's calm, analytical skills are nothing to to scoff at, and it's pretty sharp. Madara says the same thing later on. So, like, that shouldn't be underestimated. So, having knowledge and having the mental acuity that Sasuke has definitely has a lot of chances to take the Kage out. It's one of those things where it's like, for me, I'm really 50-50 on this because I think that the teamwork between the Kage could prove just as lethal as Sasuke's hacks abilities and his intellect. I'm not saying that the five Kage are collectively smarter than Sasuke, but again, as they were even able to catch Madara lacking a couple times through their teamwork, I don't know. It's really crazy. So like, they were able to do their same like sealing strategy they did like with Madara on Sasuke Susanoo. That leaves a giant opening for Onoki to fire a particle style beam at Sasuke and just disintegrate him. So that's a win con for the Kage. If they were able to, now realistically, Tsunade can't like speed blitz Sasuke. Like he's got way too much like, good reaction. So like the only her and like as we saw that she was able to leave a gigantic hole in Madara, who if he wasn't in Edo Tensei, may have died do that hole. So if somehow they were able to press Sasuke similar to how they did with Madara in that specific instance, which we don't know how they did, because it kind of happened like off screen. But if they're able to do that to where Tsunade can land a clean punch on Sasuke, he's done for. But the problem though is with Sasuke's reaction time, like I said, it's possible he could throw up a Susanoo before she does. Same thing with the Raikage. Same thing with any one of Gaara's attacks. And Mei doesn't really have much to do here. Like, her attacks are dangerous, but, like, compared to Sasuke's reaction time and his Susanoo, aside from her acid, which she can't safely use without putting the other Kage at risk, there's not much that she can do that's going to really damage Sasuke, unless she, again, works with the Kage collectively. So, I feel like I'm fumbling my words here, I know, but that's because that's how much of 50-50 I am on this spectrum, because I just don't know who I want to give it to.
Yeah, it is a tough fight. I would lean in Sasuke's favor, specifically due to the fact that, obviously, like I mentioned, he does have very strong hacks abilities, but he also does have the speed to not only react to, but possibly even outspeed some of the other Kage. Like I mentioned, he does seem to show relativity to MKCM Naruto as soon as he arrives on the battlefield. We've seen that the Raikage is somewhat of a match for a possibly weaker version of KCM1 Naruto, because obviously Naruto had already had more experience with using Kurama's chakra. Kurama even compliments him for this, and he's like one of the best people to ever control such a massive amount of chakra whenever he distributes it to the entire Shinobi Alliance. So Naruto is very proficient with using Kurama's chakra by now, so that means he's more efficient with it. He can put it to better use, possibly even faster than he was when he went up against the Raikage, right? And of course, the Raikage is the fastest one there. You could say that he'd still be able to compete with Sasuke once he's being amped by Onoki. You could say the same about Gaara's Sand after it's been amped by Onoki. But pretty much Mei, Tsunade, and Onoki, the only ones who don't have like concrete KCM1 speed scaling, would struggle to land a hit on Sasuke. And I think that with that speed advantage, that slight speed advantage, along with his incredibly dangerous abilities, that would be enough to edge him to win overall. It's still like very high diff for Sasuke. I think he would have a hard time doing it, of course. But if you factor into account that throughout the entire fight, he'd be getting stronger, getting more adapted to his eyes, possibly evolving his Susanoo along the way, that would obviously give him a much better advantage over the Kage, because Sasuke is just constantly growing and constantly getting stronger throughout his fights and getting more accustomed to his new eyes.
Yeah, for sure. So honestly, I think, kind of wrapping it, I honestly would think that, like, in my opinion, how this would go is that fresh EMS Sasuke, he just got his EMS, he's itching for battle, getting ready to, go toe-to-toe with the Kage, and assuming he doesn't go straight for the maximum amount of Susanoo length he can go to. Because again, like I said, most Uchiha, when they fight with the Susanoo, they don't start off with their max amount that they can do. So if he just goes to his either skeletal or, medium armored Susanoo, I think the Kage got it through sheer teamwork alone. Because again, they have ways around Susanoo, whether it's, particle style, Gaara eating him out of it, the Raikage, and Tsunade possibly breaking through it. It depends on if, Onuki's amping them or not. And then, if the Kage are out of the way, which more likely won't happen, I feel like if they're all there, May won't safely be able to use their acid, but the acid is a technical counter to the Susanoo, just put it out there. So I feel like the Kage would overwhelm Sasuke at, fresh EMS. And I do think Sasuke would do well, like Oko was saying. I don't think it's going to be easy either way, especially with, Sasuke's intellect and him already having knowledge of their abilities. Definitely would help, but I think the Kage would overwhelm him as fresh EMS. Going on to that though, like if we use the Sasuke that we saw fighting the Fourth War predominantly, like the Jubito section, like specifically, that I think, like Logo said, at that point he would be way more adapted to his abilities. Obviously he would have the Susanoo that had the perfect, legs or whatever. That's a little more mobile. I think they have a better chance. I still think the Kage have a chance to trap him again. All it's going to take is one particle style from Inoki. So if they use teamwork solid enough for Onuki to fire a particle style beam at Sasuke Susanoo, it's done for. But I think it's a lot less likely, like Logo's saying, because he's more adaptable. Again, knowledge is going to play a part. His strategic intellect is going to play a part. And his hell hacks abilities with Amaterasu. Again, all it's going to take for most of them really is one Amaterasu look, and that's it. And then that's not really even mentioning the fact that there's a really good possibility that Sasuke has the perfect Susanoo. We have mentioned this in a couple of videos in the past, but because Madara had the perfect Susanoo when he was in the EMS days, before he died to Hashirama, that there's a good chance that Sasuke may not have it. Or that Sasuke would have the perfect Susanoo as well, because he has EMS. The only argument I could see against that specifically is because, maybe you could say that, Sasuke didn't have the same amount of chakra as Madara did in the Warring States, and that because he got the Rinnegan and it has some dormant chakra in it, that's why he got the perfect Susanoo. Maybe I could see the argument for that, but I also see it just as likely that Sasuke still has the perfect Susanoo in his EMS. So that would be my take on it. That's where because obviously if he has perfect Susanoo, he clears from the get-go. It's just the same way Madara did in their fight. So that's my take on it. Fresh EMS Sasuke does pretty well against the Kage, but loses at the end of the day. Fourth War Jubito EMS Sasuke wins, high difficulty, and then obviously perfect Susanoo Sasuke clears. So that's my take on it. Loco, what you got?
Yeah, a lot of people don't see the difference, the massive difference actually, between early EMS Sasuke from the Kabuto fight versus post Jubito fight, after Naruto and Sasuke already won. And you can see Sasuke's clear progression, not only with his Susanoo rapidly evolving, that's an indication of him becoming better at using his new eyes, but we actually see him getting faster in real time. Whenever Naruto and Sasuke are combating Jubito, he's consistently shown to be zipping around too fast for them to actually tag, just straight up dodging all of their attacks. And then we can see Naruto once he begins using Sage Mode on top of his KCM2 form, he's saying, dang, he really is fast, but I'm starting to sense him better and better. And while Naruto is saying that he's able to perceive Jubito better, we see Sasuke's, a close-up of Sasuke's eyes. We can tell Sasuke is also adapting to Jubito's speed, and then we can see that they're both able to tag him and force him to block their attack instead of outright dodging it. Naruto and Sasuke were basically able to pin Obito and basically make him put up those True Seeker orbs because he wasn't fast enough to dodge their attack. That's showing some low-end relativity to stable Jubito here. and that is a great showing of course, EMS Sasuke being relative to KCM2 Sage Mode Naruto, but also being able to tag someone of the likes of Jubito. So he's considerably faster now. And just a little bit longer, like a couple chapters later after this, we see him performing very well against Sage Madara. Granted, he was blind, but I do believe this version of Madara should be comparable to Edo Madara, if not stronger. Obviously, he's not being disadvantaged and nerfed by the Edo Tensei Jutsu, but he also has Sage Mode stacked on top of that. And what Sage Mode is basically you're just taking in nature energy from your surroundings and adding it to your own chakra pool. So Madara has a stronger source of energy than he previously had, which means he can amp himself to a greater degree with Sage Mode. So I do believe that this version of Madara should be either relative to, if not stronger and faster than his Edo Tensei version, and we do see that Sasuke was able to tag him and stab him through the arm. Now, a lot of people may say, well, Madara just wanted to talk to Sasuke. He didn't really let himself, he basically let himself get stabbed. But we can see that this isn't the case. Just earlier in the chapter, we can tell that Madara wants absolutely nothing to do with Sasuke. Sasuke makes like a snarky comment about relics of the past should butt out, and then Madara's like, "You're a brat that doesn't even come close to my level. Stay in your lane, kid." And then we can see that he doesn't actually become impressed with Sasuke's skills until after he's been stabbed through the arm, in which he can thoroughly sense Sasuke's power. And of course, I do believe Madara has a similar KCM2 scaling. We do see that he was able to react to KCM2 Naruto and counter his attacks accordingly. So basically, Sasuke at this point is considerably stronger and faster than he was during the Kabuto fight. I don't think that the Kage really have any chance of tagging him, whether it be with particle style, Tsunade's punches, even if they try to corner him, because Sasuke just has significantly better scaling at this point in time. It's just really what I think is he's just a mini version of Madara. He just doesn't have the Rinnegan, but he should scale to the likes of Madara in a similar tier as Madara, at least, just without having the Rinnegan. I've seen some people try to downplay Sasuke, and they say that he's not on Madara's level because he was killed by him just a few chapters after the Jubito fight. But he was off-guarded with Limbo. He has no way of countering Limbo or perceiving it at all. So that really doesn't backscale to Sasuke. You wouldn't be able to downplay him based off of an off-guard feat for a jutsu that he couldn't even see in the first place. So I basically, it's just Madara without the Rinnegan, and we already saw how a similar fight went. So I really don't see how the Kage could pull this one out, even if you don't think that Sasuke has the perfect Susanoo.
Yeah, so there y'all have it. We tried to break down the fight as best we could. It's a very chaotic fight. I feel like, it's one like Loco said, that a lot of people don't think of, and I was curious in how the fight went, but we gave our opinions, and we were kind of on the opposite side of this one for the most part, but we see where each other coming from though. It's definitely a tricky fight to cover. So that's gonna do it for the video. Thank you so much, Loco, for being on the channel with me again.
Hey man, love to be on. Love to make some magic with you, and had a really fun time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Comment your thoughts down below. Let me know if we were able to change your minds. Like Lightning said, we were on kind of opposing sides, so let us know your thoughts.
For sure. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you haven't subscribed to Loco's channel yet, be sure to do so. He does a lot of live reactions of a lot of live streams. Did a live stream with him earlier a few days ago with Sage and me, so if that's still on his channel, make sure you check that out. It's a pretty funny one. Yeah, thank y'all for watching all the way to the end if you have. And make sure you like and subscribe, hit the bell for more notifications. And until my next one, LightningSnow.